In this episode of the Camcast, I sit down and have a conversation about 6 years of the Nublar Six with Brad Jost, host of the Jurassic Park podcast. What did we talk about? Stick around until after the intro. Hello and welcome to the Cretaceous Campcast. I am Cretaceous Dave, and this is a podcast all about Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous and Jurassic World Chaos Theory. Well, today I got to do something I've been trying to plan for quite a while, and schedules finally worked out. And I had the opportunity to sit down and chat with Brad Jost, who you most definitely know as the host of the Jurassic Park podcast. I've known Brad for a number of years now, and I always loved talking Jurassic with him, and it was great to just have a casual conversation and catch up and just reminisce about the Nublar Six and these shows. And it was good. I had this idea come to me when I sat back and thought that in 6 months, it'll be 6 years since we were first introduced to these six characters. So, I want to do this little 6 years of Nublar Six thing. So I'm going to be reaching out to some other folks, maybe have some similar conversations and just reminisce and think back about everything about these characters and these incredible shows that we were so blessed to have. So not going to take up any more of your time. Just here we go. Take a listen to see what me and Brad had to chat about. Originally, I wasn't going to have any kind of plan. I was just going to completely wing this. And then I realized we would probably get so sidetracked and distracted and would end up talking about like the Mall series or like music from 25 years ago or baseball season starting or just something random. So like I'm going to write down a couple things to try to stay on topic, and who knows if that's actually gonna work, but
It
we'll
won't
try.
it won't work. It's me, it's me. I don't stay on topic ever, so
Well, we could try, and by kicking it off, I'm already gonna change to a different franchise to segue into this. So, before we get started anywhere, I need you to get into the DeLorean, and
Okay.
we're going back 7 years. We're going back to
Oh.
June 2019. Do you feel old?
Well, no, if we're back in 2019, I feel young, man. I'm feeling good. Me right now, yeah, I'm feeling old, but, and tired, but 2019 me, man, that's a whole different me.
June
That's a
June
different lifetime ago.
2019. June 2019 is when they officially announced that Camp Cretaceous was coming out. So I wasn't around and active like in the community and stuff at that point. It was after Camp Cretaceous was released when I really started getting back involved and listening to things and following you guys and stuff. But what were your first thoughts when you found out there was an animated show coming?
Oh, man, do I remember my first thoughts? No, absolutely not, but I remember what was the first thing that they did? Do you remember, what was the first, like, thing they announced or revealed? Because one of the first things that pops into my head was, like, the raptor. Was it a raptor image or a video or something? It was a video,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was some kinda like teaser or something. It was a raptor. Yeah.
Dude, the amount of, like, hours and time spent thinking about that little, like, Raptor video or whatever it was, so much time went into that, and I feel like there was also a different poster or something that they had revealed at that time, right? And it had a did it have slightly different renderings on the characters than what we initially got?
I think so. I've seen that poster, so I know what you're talking about. I don't know if that was official. I
Yeah.
think it was. Was that, like, concept art maybe? I
I
don't know.
forget what it was, but I just remember looking at, like, that video and that artwork or whatever it was and just theorizing for hours as far as, like, what these things could be, how is this gonna, relate to it, and I mean, the title itself, when you find out what the title is, it's like, it's pretty self-explanatory what it's gonna at least attempt to do, and I was just so thrilled that we're expanding it, we're expanding the lore. I feel like for so long that was 2019, you said, so we are 2 movies in, and I forget what point the novel, like, Evolution of Claire came out. It's probably before that. Yeah, because it was before Fallen Kingdom. So we had, like, little bits of, like, expanding the lore a little bit, right? But the fact that, like, a television show is coming out was just mind-blowing. I couldn't believe that there was gonna be something to, like, give us more areas to explore. That was, like, my big thing back then was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see where else we're gonna get to go on this island during a functional Jurassic World," you know? So
Yeah.
such a great idea.
Yeah, and then you had to wait over a year for the show, so I'm sure you had so much to, like, everybody just think about and try to imagine, like, what was this gonna be like, and obviously as it got closer, you got more information and stuff like that, but it's, like, thinking back on it, when I just looked it up, like, when was this announced? So I could just bring it up. It was, like, June of 2019, and the show didn't come out till September of 2020, so it
Wow.
was kinda crazy they announced it so far out.
It's such a
Um
blur. I mean, like, everything obviously from that time period just because of 2020 and everything that happened, it's just, like, feels like that I don't know, such a blur, right? Like, it feels like I was down in I remember, like wait, what was it, June you said? So I was
Yeah.
probably down a little bit later. I remember talking about it with, like, some other fans when we went to go see Jurassic World Live Tour. I think that was in, um, maybe, like, September of that year of 2019, and, oh, man, that was a blur, man. I can't believe, like, yeah, it took that long, but, here we are, what, 6 years later, and it's like, it's all done. It's just, like, it's crazy how, like, fast time has moved, and I just can't believe it, man. Like, what a great run.
Yeah. So, we'll fast forward then to September of 2020, and of course, the
Mhm.
world is a mess. But besides that, what was your initial impression on your first watch of the first season of Camp Cretaceous?
Oh, dude, I loved it. I love that show. Like, straight from the start. I felt like, it was aiming towards a certain demographic and not me, but, like, the fact that they were able to weave in so much that I was really into, I loved it. I fell in love with the characters right away. And the fact that they were willing to, like, kind of, like, go all out with, like, some of these characters and, like, faking deaths and things like that. It was pretty wild that they were, like, you know, had the nerve to do that kind of stuff and give us, like, really fun characters and cute baby dinosaurs and stuff like that. Like, man, I I don't know. That first season was, like, it was pretty great. I haven't revisited it in a long time. I really should. I really should.
Yeah, it's definitely not gonna feel the same as that first time. Like, I didn't even know my son
No.
was, like, just getting into dinosaurs at that point, and I'm like, "I wonder if there's something for kids from Jurassic Park." And, like, it was the week Camp Cretaceous was coming out. I'm like, "Oh, cool, they've got
Wow.
this cartoon." So, like, we watched it, and then I was, like, sucked into it. And I'm like, "We gotta keep watching this," and, you know, but, like, what was, like, great for me is that's what pulled me back in. I'm like, "I need to go back and watch the movies, and I need to do this," and then I wanted to,
Yeah.
like, know more about the show. I just became so invested in this show for seven-year-olds that my son our kids were what, like, 3 at the time the show came out?
Yeah.
Um, and,
Yeah.
like, that's how I found you and, like, some of the other stuff, but it was great that I'm like, "This is a great way of introducing an entire new generation, to this
Mhm.
franchise," and it got him interested in, like, wanting to know what the movies were. I'm like, I'm not gonna let you watch the movie just yet. You're 3 years old."
Yeah.
But, like, I'd show him dinosaur scenes and, like, stuff like that, not with, people getting eaten or, whatever, but it was cool, and I'll never forget, like, the first time, watching it, and then, like, his reaction and some of the stuff too, just the awe he was in the first time he saw the Indominus, like, when it what was it,
Mhm.
episode 4, I think it is, of season 1, and, like, the first thing he says, like, "I want a toy of that." And, like, but
It's such a great introduction to the, like, because Jurassic World is pretty violent, like, there's a lot of, like, gruesome, like, moments in there, and people getting eaten and stuff like that. So it's not certainly not the easiest in for kids, but they take, that those dinosaurs, those exact moments, like think of how brutal that moment is with Mizrani and the helicopter and everything, and they take that exact moment and like translate it in such a great way. Like I love that moment. Like the fact that it's like so like a literal like one for one kind of moment. It's so cool. That's exactly like what I wanted from the show. Um, but yeah, that I think we had early access to the show. I don't even remember. And it's just like I was always so grateful that like they were able to give us early access even back then. Our show was around for what was it, 29? So yeah, only like 4 years at that point, I guess. Well, five, I guess, by the time. Man, it's been that long. Yeah, because now it's like 11. So somehow time has passed even quicker. But yeah, they were willing to let us watch it early and just get that early access. Man, it felt so nice to be able to like have that in our hands for a little bit and kind of enjoy it and study it before the release. Man, that was cool.
Yeah, uh, and then you ended up having 9 more, or I guess 8 more seasons after. Yeah,
Uh
it's just
huh.
something about that first one, even though it's, I don't think it's the best season, or anything, there's just something really special, about
Yeah.
that first one.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but, going across everything, we're gonna jump around. Sorry, this is the way my
Let's
brain
do it.
works. So, um, across all 9 seasons of both shows, every character, if you could change one thing about one character at
Oh
any
my
point,
gosh.
what would it be?
Oh my gosh. If I could change one thing about any character, I would. I really want that character of Hap to come back. Was that season? What season was that? Was that
2.
two?
2.
Like
Yeah.
that guy. It felt like they were like. I remember like thinking, oh, they're gonna bring this guy back, and like, I want him to return. We never got that return, but like, I really wanted him to like still be alive and somehow have made it out alive.
Maybe he still is. He even survived the volcano. He's Tom Hanks castaway, chilling on the
Yeah.
island. So,
I know that's not one of the main characters or anything, but like
uh,
I that was like the thing that I thought of because that guy like stood out as like I really like this guy. I think maybe because that season was a little bit lower in my rankings, but like he was like a standout moment for me in that season, and I was like, yeah, I like that guy. I wish he could have returned, but we never got that. I always expected him to. Like honestly, like every time, even through Chaos Theory, I'm like, man, what if he goes back?
he just randomly shows up somewhere.
Yeah. And
Uh,
everybody's like, "Who's this?" I'm like,
yeah.
"Dude, it's him. He's back."
It it actually would have been pretty cool to just randomly bring him back, like, in season 5 when they went back to the island to get the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and he just, like,
Yeah.
shows up. But they could have
Oh,
made that
well.
work,
They could
but,
have. They give
uh,
isn't there like a there was like a I think there was like an old toy of like a guy with like a mechanical arm and stuff. Like make him like that guy that like, somehow survived on the island. He got his arm bit off. I mean, I guess that's what happened with Brooklyn, but that's not the kind of arm that I was talking about. I was talking about some weird like sci-fi like kind of like laser arm.
yeah. You just take one of the arms from one of the Brads and just, you
Exactly.
know,
There we go.
just just give him that.
Somehow he got to
Yeah.
that island, yeah.
Yeah.
He followed them. He was on a boat or hanging on
Yeah.
somewhere.
He's stowed away, then just had no idea he was there. He was chilling with the compy. Uh, uh, we're just writing a really worse version of this show. It's
I know. Yeah. Sometimes we come
yeah.
up with good ideas, but that crew honestly, like, I know Scott a lot of times gets a lot of the credit, but man, that the whole writing crew was just like it really showed that there was a lot of love, I think, to the franchise, to the characters that they created. They like you could tell that they loved those characters and they loved like their stories and like where they were going to end up and um yeah, it just showed, and I think, like, the love for the franchise really spoke volumes because you don't always get that, I think, with Jurassic. Sometimes it's like, "Oh, man, it feels like they coulda went a little bit farther with some things here or there," but, like, this show was like, "We're gonna do it. We're gonna go all the way with this stuff and make you love it."
Yeah, I agree. And like season 3 having some nods to
Oh,
the novel, like kids aren't gonna get, any of that. A lot of adults aren't gonna get it because a lot of adults probably didn't read the novels, but throwing stuff like that in there, they did put a lot into it. And similar with the writing in Chaos Theory, that team that they had, I thought, did a phenomenal
mhm.
job.
Oh, for sure.
They just, I not familiar with any of their other work, but, you know, uh, they just
Makes you wanna find it, and
they they
watch
they
it.
put everything, out there. Like, when I talked to Eric and he was talking about, the lighting and the compositing and stuff for the show, and as the seasons went on, for when he described season 4, he just said, like, "We just left it all out," and you can tell even
Oh, yeah.
every team that worked on that, and, it got better and better and better, and, I hope they all appreciate, you know, um, what we think of it and stuff, and that's why I like
Mhm.
talking to a lot of those kind of folks because they fly under the radar and everyone just wants,
Oh, yeah.
you know, to give credit to the voice actors and stuff like that, and like, but these are the other people that make this happen, like, they make the
Yeah.
magic, so
You know what's funny about that? You said, like, give credit to, like, voice actors and stuff. I keep stumbling across, like, because 'cause I'll always Google, like, Jurassic World and, like, see what kind of news there is so that I can talk about on live streams or something, and this article that just keeps popping up is, like, Glenn Powell's Jurassic World series is better than some of the movies or whatever it says, like, it's something along those lines, and I'm like, "Glenn Powell's series, like, okay, yeah, sure, but, like, so minimal, like the
uh,
amount of like the amount that he actually gave to that series. Very memorable character, but like, but not, it's not his series. Come on, let's be honest.
I think Screen Rant posted something
I
like
think
that
that's
just
them. Yeah.
yesterday. It was,
Yeah.
like, just yesterday. Like,
Yeah. I feel like I
what
see
year is
it
this?
constantly though. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like it's one of those articles that keeps getting released like over and
yeah.
over. And I'm like, Okay, Glenn Powell. Yeah. I mean, sure. It's one way to, I don't know whose pocket they're in, but they're trying to sell the series for some reason and get people interested. I don't know. Glenn Powell, like he's I like his stuff, but like he hasn't been like a huge like draw at the box office recently. So I'm wondering what the angle is on the article.
Yeah, I don't know. You get somebody to deep dive and, go all in like, "That this means
Yeah.
he's gonna be in the next movie. That's why they keep pushing this."
Yeah,
Uh,
maybe we're gonna get a
uh,
Dave, and he's just like he's working on his mixtape or
his
whatever he's
mixtape.
doing.
Yeah.
That thing, I loved that mixtape thing, and I would put that like into all of like the episodes and stuff that we were releasing back then because it was just cracking me up. I had to like cut that part out of the show and like add it to the podcast. It was so funny.
Not as good as when Tom did it, though. But,
Look, Tom always likes to do his little musical numbers.
uh,
Now he's currently singing like the Monarch theme song on the show, and I'm like, Tom, I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna add it to the show, right?
so, not to get uh, I don't know how to, like, even explain it without sounding like I wanted something bad to happen, but when I was thinking about that question before I asked it, I was like, "What would mine be?" And then I
Mm,
thought back, and it would completely change everything about both shows, but I thought, "What if they kept Ben dead in season 1?"
yeah,
And then, like, how it would impact Darius from that point all the way to where he was, and then all of Chaos Theory would be so much different because he was such an integral part of, bringing people together, and then him being all conspiracy theory and, being right about a lot of the stuff, and, like, the
yeah,
trajectory of everything would be different if they killed him
yeah.
off.
I'm trying to think of like how that trajectory would change in Camp Cretaceous, but I'm like blanking on like specific things that he would have, been a part of. Obviously, like Bumpy and maybe some Toro stuff around there, but Chaos Theory, man, like they maybe never would have. done anything. They never maybe would have been a part of anything and tracked down Brooklyn or any of that if he wasn't involved. Like
I mean,
that was all
there's a
him.
chance. There's a chance Yaz and Sammy aren't a couple without him, because he
Mm,
was kind of there to be the one, to listen, and he didn't really
yeah.
give advice, but he was just like the middle person there involved in that. So
Yeah.
it's,
Well, if they had continued down
uh,
their path that school or whatever that was that she was at, yeah, things would have went a lot differently. They would have
yeah.
parted ways a lot sooner.
So yeah, it was interesting to think about. Like, obviously they weren't going to do it, and I don't know. Was it when I talked to him? Was it when you talked to him? I vaguely remember Scott saying like we tried to kill him, but they wouldn't let us.
I feel like I did hear him say that. Yeah, I don't know where it
Yeah,
was either.
uh,
I can never remember whose
yeah.
thing it was on, but yeah, I definitely heard him say that.
So, yeah, it's interesting if they did, go that way, and I was just spending
Oh
time
man.
thinking about, like, how different, like, everything about the entire, animated franchise would be completely different. Um,
Yeah, that would have been real dark. That would have been real dark. Like I can't even like imagine that. I know a lot of people like just really want the franchise to go down like this darker path and stuff, and I'm not on that train at all. Like I think they're family movies from the start. And yes, yes there's some violence and some deaths and things like that, but like it doesn't mean it's not a family friendly franchise and movie series. Obviously the books are much different. So I think a lot of people are just leaning in that direction. They want the books, but like to do something like that in the television show, man, that would have been like real brutal.
eh, eh
There's no way like a kids animated show ever would have gone that route. And even with Chaos Theory, I mean, they faked it out again, but even harder this time, and it still was dark. I mean, that show was plenty dark as well, but even the last season was like, hey, we are really gonna make you think we're going there.
yeah, I was convinced it was really gonna happen up until the
Hmm.
very end, and I'm like I was preparing myself. I said, "I'm actually okay with it, just where the characters were age-wise and their story," and I'm like, "Okay, the audience is growing with these characters, they know who they're going for, even if the show was rated TVY7 or
Hmm.
whatever, still,
Yeah.
like, seven-year-olds weren't the target of Chaos Theory." It was very
Mm.
obvious, you know,
Yeah.
and I would have been okay with it, and then after I watched the end, I'm like, "Okay, he's alive," and then it took me, like, a couple minutes to process, but then I was
Yeah.
like, "They made the right decision," and I
Yeah.
told Scott I didn't have a better way of describing it other than I felt very satisfied when it was over, and he was like,
Mhm.
That's all we can ask for," because
Yeah. Yeah, I think if they had gone that route, it would have been like full circle. It would I would have appreciated it because of that full circle kind of aspect to it from, the first series and just, you dodged death one time, but you couldn't dodge it this time. And like there could have been some like fun dialogue in that. Not fun, but like some memorable dialogue in that moment and some, very touching sequences if they had gone that route. But, you know, I think ultimately I'm glad they didn't. Hey,
yeah.
if it gives us room for series 3 if they want to bring him back. I don't know what he could do. He's supposed to have like heart
Yeah,
issues at this point, right?
yeah.
Like, but he's the man in the chair at this point.
I I guess that can lead to something else I was eventually gonna ask, but because you brought it up, I was gonna ask if you were satisfied with how everything ended, that you're like, "This is good, it wraps it up, I'm okay," or do you think they should, like, push for something more and, like, connect building up to Rebirth, and I don't even know where they can go with that, or if it's just something totally off, not related to the movies, but something that has to do with these characters. Like me, I as much as I love these shows and these characters, I don't think I wanna see them again. Like, if they do another show, great,
Oh,
have
wow.
new characters. I think they left it at the point where I'm like, they're done, their story's told, and
Yeah.
don't ruin what you left off with, you know?
I agree that like they definitely left it in like a good place. I'm very like fulfilled with that story, with those characters, with everything they did. I think this is a very natural ending point for them, for sure. Um, does that mean that I don't want more? No, I definitely want more. And I think the reasoning is because mostly it's no secret that I struggled with Rebirth quite a bit. And I've since come around a fair amount to that movie, but there are still a lot of canonical issues that I have with it. So I feel like, Scott and the crew over there, the writers like doing what they do best, and like connecting dots and telling a story in between and weaving everything in. I really want to see it. And like, I think I was talking about it recently on like a live stream or something, but I I kind of would be okay with them just focusing in on like one or two of the characters. You got Darius, you've got Brooklyn, or whoever. Just take like any two of the characters and have them somehow link up with. I forget how I positioned it, but like I also wanted them to introduce characters from like the beginning of Rebirth, like how with the lab incident and all that stuff, everything that went down there. Maybe it's like a family member or a kid of the person who died, like in the beginning of that movie, inside the D-Rex chamber, and they never got the answers that they needed, right? And we have one of those kids or family members from from that part of the movie's franchise, and then you get also somebody or a few people from Chaos Theory, and then they all somehow come together, and I could see them doing something really cool like that, where like I don't know, like because there's still a lot of stories to tell about what happened with the dinosaurs. Did they all die off? Because they kind of project that like the dinosaurs are dying off, but like also some have migrated to like equatorial regions or something like that. So I think there's stories that need to be told there as far as like where did the dinosaurs go? Who are the people that are maybe a part of this? Are there people helping? Like, you can't imagine that Darius and all those people would be done, right? They would still be helping. They would still be doing all of this stuff. And, I don't know where they are, if they're all out at Biosyn Valley at this point, or they're, all around wherever. But I feel like there's stories to be told of them, like helping with the dinosaurs dying off, or, forcing them to migrate to a certain place, or corralling them all at Biosyn Valley or Manticore Island or something like that, just to tie up, loose ends and things like that, but also give new life to the missed connections, I think, from Rebirth. So maybe Scott's got a story. So whether it does
Yeah,
that, I don't know.
yeah, I'd be okay if it was dealing with that part of the, figuring out, why the dinosaurs can't survive, or trying to get Bumpy and Smoothie somewhere safe, because that would be a big part of it, because there's no way they're gonna just let them die in agony from not
No,
adapting to climate or something like that. I wouldn't I wouldn't want them going to that island, because then it just gets weird, in my
I
opinion.
would. I'd be
It's
down for them to visit that island.
uh I don't know. It's in my head, it doesn't make sense, but I guess we just got done talking about how great the writers do with this stuff, so
They could figure it out.
I do have confidence in them.
You know, you mentioned Bumpy and everything, like, they are in Biosyn Valley, right, with Smoothie and what was the dad's name? It was, Blend was it?
Blender.
Blender? Blender. That was Scott said that on the show. I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing." Um, yeah, so having them out there, uh, Rexy's out there, the next thing would be to get Blue out there, so maybe there's, like, we actually get a series that has, like, Owen and Claire and Maisie, and then also the Camp Fam, some of them, and they like Owen's like, "Hey, we need help getting my dinosaur out to Biosyn Valley," and then that's what the series turns into, is like them trying to get Blue out and Beta out to Biosyn Valley to live a fulfilling life. Because I would assume that those dinosaurs are safe, like the ones that are in Biosyn Valley. They're kind of, I feel like they've got to be excluded from the beginning text of Rebirth, because like that's its own sanctuary. It's its own thing. I don't feel like the dinosaurs would die off there. I don't know. Maybe they would, but yeah, there could be a story there too. I could do this all day.
Yeah,
Universal,
I guess
call me up. I got
uh
hello. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Darius does live close to Owen,
Yeah, he
I guess.
does. He does.
So,
You bump
you
into
know,
him at the convenience store or Maisie, he's like follows that'd be weird if he just followed Maisie home, that'd be crazy, but, yeah, but, there's something that they could do.
I I I was hoping she showed up, and then we got that scene where you hear, like, her and Beta, like, running down the hall or whatever. I'm like, "They're gonna do it." No, she's not there,
Ah,
you know?
yeah, they skirted around it quite well, I think, they they, uh, they just narrowly missed, like, so many little moments in that final season. Yeah, that was well done, well done.
I mean,
I was we were all wondering what they would do, and I think they did a nice job of, finding a way to not include any of them except for, Doctor Wu, but, like, making it feel valid, in the way that it all happened.
yeah. No, I agree, and I know a lot of people were, like, wondering, like, "Oh, who are we gonna see? They've gotta have somebody there, even if it's not,
Yeah.
one of the main characters." But then after how it all played out, I was like, "Yeah, it works, it made sense." And, I even asked Scott when I talked to him about, like, even somebody like Ramsey, like, you would think they could run
I
into
for
him,
thought for sure, yeah.
and he said, there wasn't really a way of explaining that, like, Ramsey would bring up at some point, like, "Hey, I ran into these kids," or, whatever. So he kind of, I
Yeah.
guess they kicked around the idea, but they couldn't write it enough that it wouldn't, like, ruin the movie, I guess.
Well, like, the fact that there were absolutely like, it felt like there were solid plans. I had heard rumors and rumblings from a lot of sources that, like, they were gonna go in the direction of, like, Kayla and Ramsey, like, with a sequel, and they were gonna be the focus of a movie, and then they obviously didn't go that route, probably because of reactions to Dominion for some reason, but, I mean, it still made a more money than Rebirth, but, um, I guess, yeah, I don't know, but, like, if they had gone that route, like, it would have been obvious for them to, like, include Ramsey or Kayla in there, 'cause yeah, and have them, like, be a part of, like, the final few seasons or whatever. So I'm surprised that there were no, like, lingering threads from, like, ideas that were planned, for the films. So interesting that they didn't go that route.
Yeah, but I appreciated everything both shows did with, like, tying in the movies, though. Like, I know
Oh,
some
yeah.
people want things to be standalone and off on their own. Like, people, you know, it complain about that with Star Wars stuff. Like, everything doesn't have to be connected to everything. Like, let it just be its own thing. Because eventually
Yeah.
everything all comes back to, like, why are we always on one planet or everything revolves around one family, you
That's
know?
very true, yeah.
Um, but I like what it did with the movies. And I'm one of the weirdos that I love Dominion. Um,
Me
and
too.
I thought it made it even better, watching seasons 3 and 4 of Chaos Theory. It's like, "Oh, man," like, I want somebody to make, like, a super long cut of the movie that puts the parts of the shows that, matter in between. Like, I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
you probably never watched it because you wouldn't have the time to watch it, but somebody has some kinda, like, ridiculous, like, 5 or 7-hour cut of Revenge of the Sith that has, like, Clone Wars episodes, like, mixed in with it and
I feel
stuff.
like I've seen some clips of stuff like that, and it is so darn cool to see that, like, that final season or final episode, or I forget exactly what it was, but, like, mixed into Revenge of the Sith, and yeah, I think there's somebody out there who's gotta do it because it would make such, like, a great, like we actually timed it out. I did, like, time it out, like, and see kind of how long things would have taken just to, because I know there was a lot of questions in that final, well, it was, I guess it was the previous season, but, like, season 3, and how long it took helicopters to go from here to there, but also, like, how long it took them in the movie and all this stuff. So I was, like, trying to compare everything as closely as I could, and it was nearly plausible, but there was definitely still some, like, well, yeah, I don't know how they would have gotten to Biosin Valley before, like, everybody else. Like, it didn't that definitely didn't make a lot of sense, but I'm okay with stuff like that because I love the crossovers. I love all of those moments so incredibly, like that Indominus moment from season 1 and The helicopter stuff that was in season 3, right? Like all that stuff with Dr. Wu like crossing over, and then and then just oh, the fact that it like crossed over kind of like with Battle at Big Rock, like that was so cool. The fact that that was like all a part of it and part of this history, and man, I love it. I love every kind of moment like that. So including like a major cut of all of those, I would love that. Please, somebody do it right now.
Somebody with time and skills.
Somebody with time and a
Uh,
computer that
uh,
works, because mine does not. So otherwise, I would do it.
yeah, the ports on like one side of my computer don't work anymore. So I was plugging my headphones in. I'm like, it doesn't recognize there's anything plugged in there. So I have to plug them in the other side. And
Uh,
sometimes it works as a USB port, but not a Thunderbolt port. So like it won't drive my monitor, but like it'll read a USB drive. It's just that's what happens when you're rocking a
yeah.
5-year-old computer or whatever it is
Yep,
at this
I'm
point.
I'm on
Uh,
2017 right now, and it's
Yeah,
not doing well.
yeah. I should just start using my work one. Like, they won't care. Yeah.
You'll never know.
Yeah. So do you have a favorite moment from any of the shows? Like, overall, if you just think of the shows, be like, "It's this."
A favorite moment, I feel like it's kind of like a hot topic right now, and it's always been like a favorite part of like of mine, I guess, a favorite sequence or favorite, I don't know, whatever. But the fact that the Scorpius Rex and everything in season 3, like that stuff is so cool, and like having them the reveal of like 2 and then all the stuff with the visitor center, like that stuff I think is my favorite out of anything. So I love like the Scorpius and there was like a was there a storm at that moment, right? Lightning strikes and like it was just that the screech of that thing, it was so awesome. Like I think that might be like my favorite thing out of like every season is just that Scorpius, both of them, I guess, but the Scorpius Rex was so darn cool. I think it's my favorite of the hybrid creations of any of them, Indominus, Indoraptor. I love that they're, still producing toys. I just pre-ordered it the other day from Walmart, so that's out there. And I love that thing. I'm so glad that that was like, to me that was like a risky thing. Like I remember when they shared the images, I think before the season, of that like tube thing that it was in, and like just thinking about, oh, what could that be? Like what's going to be in there? What kind of creature? And then the reveal of it and how monstrous it is. It feels like a Frankenstein even farther than like any of the other hybrid creatures, and I love it so much. That thing is awesome. And it's dangerous. It felt, very dangerous with the, spiked quills that poison people, and oh, dude, brutal. What a brutal creature.
Yeah, and they didn't just here it is. There's the
Mhm.
slow build up to it where
Yeah.
you never saw it on screen, but you saw a Parasaurolophus, like, in a tree impaled, or
Yeah.
you saw its heat vision, that it looking at something through its
Yeah.
perspective, and then that episode with the storm, I think, is the first time you see it for real,
Mhm.
and you're like, "This is ugly."
It's ugly. It's nasty creature, dude. That thing was so cool. And I don't know if it was with Tom or somebody, but we, whoever it was I was talking to, we said how like that the way that they portrayed that creature on that island with the dinosaurs being afraid of it, and like how you knew that something was off on that island because those things were out there, and it was messing with the entire ecosystem of that island. That was done so much better than like the D-Rex being out there, and just kind of the fact that it did show up, in the beginning and then only at the end, and there was nothing like that in the middle of the movie. That they have that moment in Rebirth where like Dolores is afraid of the T-Rex, and like that's kind of the kind of moment that you get from the Scorpius, is like all these dinosaurs are afraid and kind of like running away. Like I wish there was more of that shows the danger that was lurking in the jungle out there somewhere. But I guess it probably was localized to that like worker village kind of thing. So maybe it wouldn't have made sense, but like I just really loved how the Scorpius was portrayed. So it makes me want more of that kind of stuff, especially when you're talking about other mutant kind of dinosaurs. So it made sense.
Yeah, it's and now of course it messes up it's the first because now we don't know if the D-Rex is the first. Um, but
Yeah,
it like
tie it into that further. Oh my god, yeah,
it
I forgot about that. Yeah,
it made sense that it was so crazy and unhinged and unpredictable that it's like, Wu didn't know what he was doing. Obviously, he's like, "Let's mix a bit of this, a bit of that, let's see
yeah.
what comes out." And, it's the part of him that, Mizrahi wanted it destroyed, but he's like, "Yeah, let's just freeze this thing. Who knows?" Like, nothing
This
good was gonna come of that. I
the Scorpius Rex is kind of like the smoking gun of this franchise because like it's the one thing that like destroys the lore, right? Like because of what they've set up in the films. You know, if because most of the time, like I'm talking about it with Tom for the Monarch series, it's like we always talk about the films and like the canon of the films because there's comics and other things that like they don't take precedent over the films, and I think that's true for the Jurassic franchise as well. And so the films tell us, oh, they started all their stuff on this island, and this is where they tested the mutants and hybrids and stuff like that. But like, why would they have done that with the Scorpius on Nublar when they had this other island? Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. So it's the kind of like the one thing that breaks a lot of it. But like, I'm siding with the Scorpius. I like that thing too much.
Yeah, I agree. I was shocked when I saw they were gonna have a Hammond collection Scorpius. Like, I did not expect them, to do that or to go there. I thought they were just gonna pretend the shows, were gone, they were done, they were over with. You had the one
Yeah.
line of toys when it comes out, and then that's it, and you get nothing else. And I heard rumors and stuff that it was gonna be one. I'm like, "No, there's no way they're gonna do it." And then when they showed it off a week or 2 ago, whenever it was, and then having like, the saliva that you could add onto it and stuff, it just I
Yeah.
didn't pre-order it, but it looks so cool.
They
And
they put out like surveys at some point, like Mattel did, about like what do you want to see with the Hammond collection, and that was like number one on the list for me. Was like I want the Scorpius Rex. So yeah, I did it. It was me.
everyone can thank Brad.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it's just it's probably one of those hot sellers from back in the day. I feel like there were a few variants of it right over the time through the toy line. So it's probably just one that stuck around, and that with the Indoraptor is also one that like is still out there often. So they're still popular. So
Yeah,
yeah,
the Indoraptors,
kids like them.
it's weird, the Indoraptor toys, because they were always so much more articulated than every other mainline toy, that it's almost like
Yeah,
there isn't really a point of a Hammond collection Indoraptor because the other one is so articulated anyway.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I
but
agree.
it's
There's like a few variants of that too, and hey, they're making a new one that's now real feel. But like, yeah, those ones are really articulated, and it's like, well, yeah, you can't really do better than that. So I don't know. I'm
yeah,
fine with the one we got. I got it right there. It's massive and awesome. It's very cool.
yeah,
What- I got the Scorpius somewhere. Oh, there is. Yeah, I love those things.
yeah. It's still, the Scorpius is still one of my son's go-tos. He's got now all of the toys are like separated into different bins. It's like these I just don't care about. Or these like you could sell these and then I'll use the money to buy other things. But then he's got like his bins of like we're never getting rid of these. They're just gonna stay in my room. And when I feel like playing with dinosaurs, I'll play with these and like the Scorpius, are still in there. Um and stuff. And I'm glad he still goes back to them because your son's the same age. So he's at the age just like I want to play Minecraft or he's got my son has some older friends, so it's tough to get him to like, "Just please be a kid. Just please."
Uh huh. Oh my God, it's incredibly hard, and I feel like my son doesn't really play with toys all that much. It's sad. It makes me sad, and I have all these dinosaur toys and all these bins, and half of them are in storage because like nobody plays with them. the ones that I've deemed are not on my shelf and stuff like that. I'm like, these ones you can play with them or put them in storage or whatever. But yeah, they don't ever play with them. I'm like, maybe one day that'll come because I was 8 years old, I guess, when 7, I guess, when Jurassic Park came out. And then 12 or whatever by the time The Lost World came out. So maybe 11. I don't know how time works, but like I was around there and like I played with toys throughout those years. So there's definitely still time. And I'm like, keep my fingers crossed. Maybe I'll just like one day I'll just come downstairs and just leave all of the dinosaur toys out in the middle and just like set it up like it was like, oh, somebody was playing with this. Wasn't me. I don't know who did it.
Yeah, my daughter will go in and play with them, but then he'll get mad. That is like, you can't touch that one. That one's my favorite. Like, you're not doing anything with it. Just
That is so crazy. That happens to us too. It's like they get so mad, but like they don't even play with them. Why?
yeah, yeah. You can't touch that one. It's my favorite. Then play with it. Prove it's your
Yeah.
favorite.
Prove it.
Yeah, we're going on a tangent, but we knew this was going to happen anyway.
Of course.
But like we just recently told him, like, you know what? You're not watching YouTube or YouTube Kids. Like, you can't. And maybe if you do all your homework, you do all your schoolwork and stuff like that, maybe you can watch it for like a little bit after dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's just like doesn't want to watch a show or a movie or anything if he can't watch people playing Minecraft on YouTube. So he started playing with toys or building Lego sets and like
Yeah.
playing with Nerf guns by himself because he's just like, well, you took away YouTube. So that was like one of the things because he doesn't get it. He doesn't have the passcode to his iPad. Like, we won't give it to him. He can't play it himself. We have to unlock it to give it.
Yeah.
So he has to earn, playing it.
Nice.
Stuff like that. So he's the last few days he's just been randomly playing with toys and stuff. So maybe that's part of it because we didn't have the everything always connected that they do
No.
now. So it's a lot easier to
No.
grow up faster now, I guess.
It really is. I was doing yard work and I was like raking leaves and stuff, and my son was so bored. And he got to the point where he just picked up a big stick and was just hitting the ground, like just I don't know what he was doing, but I was looking at him like, there you go. That's where it's at. Like that's what a kid's like. You just hitting the ground with a stick. I'm like, that's what it's all about, man. I
That
don't
was
know
a
what you're
toy
doing,
when I was
but
your age.
yeah. Oh yeah. I was just telling him how I lost like some of my Jurassic toys in my old backyard, and he's like, "You think if we went there right now, they'd be there in the ground?" I'm like, "Yeah, probably." But like I don't live there anymore, so no, we're not gonna go digging in somebody else's backyard.
Excuse me, just looking for something I lost a little while ago.
Yeah. Just like, weird old guy just like frantically digging in the backyard, just trying to find something. I got a flashlight on my head, and I'm like, "What do you want?" I'm looking for Roland Tembo. He's out here somewhere, I swear.
It's like the movie Holes. You're just gonna just keep digging.
Yeah. I think I got the area wrong. I think it was actually over here. And I just started digging there for way too long. Yeah, it's not a good look, I guess.
I mean, if you want the cops called on you or something, because who doesn't want that?
Of course,
this weird
yeah.
guy digging up my yard. I don't even know what I had next now. Talking about digging holes in yards.
This is the madness that descends when I join any kind of podcast. That just happens,
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I don't know.
But Camp Cretaceous, Chaos Theory. Let's talk about him again. What else is there?
Yeah, we're 6 months away from the show being out for 6 years. So that's why I was
Oh
like,
my God.
six characters, 6 years. So let's reflect back.
Wow.
It was I know.
Yeah. It's so wild that like it all happened so fast and like literally in the blink of an eye. Obviously, like time has moved weirdly in the past few years, but like it is funny that like DreamWorks and Netflix can release like shows so quickly like that. We're sitting here, we just got like Stranger Things season 5, and it was like, I don't know how long it took them to produce that, but like that's there's obviously way longer between seasons and shows like that, or like, I don't know, like a Game of Thrones or something. It takes a long time to produce these shows. And this show is just like, nope, we got another one right around the corner. It's crazy that they were able to produce so many seasons within that small period of time.
So, like, chaos theory seemed so well connected that I kind of feel like they just did it all in one shot.
Mm,
It just seems like it flowed that way. I don't know, and I'm supposed to talk to Bethany again, so I don't know if she can answer. Maybe I'll float that out there, be like, "So, hey, how was it made this way?" kinda thing. 'Cause just, like, paying attention to some of the people that worked on its social media, like, you could tell when they were done with the show based on, like, "Hey, I'm for work," and, "Oh,
mhm.
my job with DreamWorks is up," stuff like that, and it was like, I don't even think season 1 was out yet, or it was, like, before season 2 was out, so you're like, "Okay, the show is wrapped." They're probably, finalizing the graphics and stuff, but as far as the writers and whatever were concerned, they were all done,
Yeah.
really early, so, um and if they started writing it based off of a draft of Dominion, so they started 3, 4 years ago,
Yeah.
um, or I guess even longer because it came out in 2022, so, um, oh,
Hmm.
that's wow, that's crazy, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm so
it's
happy though, like that we continued getting Dominion era content, like just until recently. Like that made me so happy because we got Rebirth, we were done, like we were over it. The era's over, but like we got to go back to it for a little bit, and that felt so nice. It
I
really
agree.
did.
Yeah,
And there's just something that was like cozy about it, just being able to return to that moment in time and revisit a world where there was like a bit more hope towards the dinosaurs and things. It was nice to kind of sit in that because that show is like the ultimate goal of it is to be extremely hopeful for the future of these dinosaurs. The movies have always kind of tackled with that as like grappled with that idea of like, what do you do with these dinosaurs? Let them live, let them die. Like, what are we gonna do? Do we let them out in the open or not? Like I think the ultimate goal of this show was to be like, hey, we want them to survive. We love dinosaurs because the movie characters didn't necessarily love dinosaurs, but these guys did. That was like the great thing was like they loved dinosaurs and they just wanted to see them like be happy and they weren't always afraid of them. They weren't always like, you know, horrified every time they saw one. They knew how to tackle them and they knew how to like, handle certain ones, and that was very clear in Chaos Theory, and it was just nice to kind of have that little bit of hopefulness when there's graffiti on dinosaurs and holding them down with ropes and things, and they're all dying, and now it's sad. I just want to go back to that time again. Let's go
yeah.
back.
Cha Chaos Theory really is like the anti-Rebirth.
Hmm.
If you think about it, because Rebirth's like, "Oh, nobody cares about dinosaurs anymore," and, like, those characters are the complete opposite of
Yeah.
not caring about dinosaurs. Like, even somebody like Yaz, who was traumatized and PTSD
Hmm.
from dinosaurs, she's still, towards the end there and, like, at season 4, she put all of that aside to, reunite Smoothie with Bumpy and,
Yeah.
you know, everything, she did and stuff, so is and again, that goes back to the writers for doing a great job with the characters, just their development from where you see them episode 1 of season 1 of Camp Cretaceous to episode 9 of season 4 of Chaos Theory. Um, it's incredible. Just across Chaos Theory itself, you see, growth and change. And it didn't feel rushed. It was like kind of rushed because there wasn't like a big window of time. This stuff was happening, especially with like Darius with all his emotions and his thoughts with different things going on, but it felt normal, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But what did you think overall of like the growth of the characters from season 1, episode 1, where they're 12, 13 years old, all the way to the end? And like, does any one character stand out for
Well, I mean,
you?
obviously one stands out the most, but like I feel like y- Yaz and Sammy had like minimal growth, but it was more personal, like relationship goals and stuff like that. That was like really great to see them kind of open up in that way. So I was really glad to watch them and to see where they ended up and where they started. It was so drastically different, but like it was minimal to me as well. I feel like Kenji, uh, I don't, yeah, I guess it's hard to say that none of them changed. They all changed quite a bit. I feel like, but Ben is the one that like obviously he's like a completely different guy, and it's so funny, but like he turned out to be like heroic and obviously he made that progress in the last series, right? Like he became that guy. He just still was in the body of that, that original Ben, and he became a completely different guy in Chaos Theory, but still had that same heart and love for his friends and dinosaurs. And but yeah, I guess they all really, maybe Darius is the one who like maybe changed the least, or if anything, not at all. I don't know. Like he kind of was just like the same guy the whole time. Like he just loved dinosaurs, just was happy to be there, and just loved his friends. I don't know, not much changed with him, um, but yeah, I guess everybody else kinda did. I wasn't thinking Kenji changed a lot, but, like, the fact that he went from, like, really kind of, like, unbearable, kind of rich kid to somebody that would sacrifice everything was pretty well done, and I believe that I didn't really love his trajectory all the time, but I like where he ended up, um, in comparison to, like, how he was in the beginning. And I like that they made references to that, I think, throughout the end of the show, right? Didn't they talk a little bit about I feel like they talked about that at the end, about him, like, having tunnels and things like that, and just knowing all the secrets of
Yeah.
Jurassic World, like, yeah, who else was there? Was there Oh, Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn, she she was also more of the same kinda character a lot of the time, right? Like, I felt like she only just got more progressively hardened, right? Like in terms of like how she attacked her journalism and her techniques. Like she was just a YouTuber that turned into somebody that did similar stuff, but like way more intensely. So I don't know. I really liked her story. I really did. But I think Ben's the one for me that like just changed so dramatically.
I thought early on a missed opportunity for DreamWorks was they should have given Brooklyn a YouTube channel and just
Oh my God. Yeah.
uploaded like shorts or just little things. Like it would cost them next to nothing, to do that. I guess maybe paying Jen Ortega at the time, but like she
At the
wasn't who
time,
she is.
no, it would have been fine,
She
right?
was now. She's just a kid, and, But I was like, this is such a missed opportunity to like lean in to that
Yeah.
whole who she was. Um, but I just thinking about it now when you were talking about Ben, I guess similarly, like a series of shorts or something of Ben between high school and college going through
Mm,
puberty and like the confusion of what was happening to him between being this scrawny little kid to this like massive man. Um, that'd be funny. I think the in between story, I'd be okay if there were comics. Um, that kind of tells you what's going on in between because there's still a big
yeah.
section of these kids' lives that, I'm sure there aren't a lot of people that care. Um, but there's lead
We'd
up
buy him.
to stuff that happens, you know, from where they're left off to where they are. Like what, was Brooklyn going after at Lockwood Manor and like what did she know? And did she know about the Indoraptor? And because like was she right there
Mm,
that day because Darius looks out his window and sees a Brachiosaurus, and that's the first of like, okay, there are dinosaurs here now. Like,
yeah.
what's going on? We just left dinosaurs, you know. Um, so I don't know. I'd be down for something. They don't have to make shows, but I think other expanded content, would be good. They've
Mm,
they've tried books in the franchise before, and it hasn't. I don't think it's gone as well as they've wanted
yeah.
to. We never got the third Maisie book, um, but I think I I think these characters would work in comics. But
That is a great idea. I never really thought about getting those in between stories like that, in between the 2 series. I would love that. Absolutely.
yeah.
I would rather the comics be just paper and not motion based.
Yes,
So
agreed.
let's do with that. Let's make sure they're not motion based, but yeah, print, whatever, digital, I don't care, but just not in motion.
Yes, I think you can universally agree on that. Uh,
Hopefully Universal would agree, but yeah, universally I think the fans would agree.
uh, but I yeah, it's just like leading up to this, just thinking back, about the shows and the first thought was like, wow, I can't believe it was that long ago. The first show
Mhm.
because I still remember, a lot about it and then, that getting me into doing this stuff and then making friends, because of the show. It's like just so weird how different a lot in my life is because of this cartoon that came out 6 years ago, and it's just wild, to think about. So that's I wanted to just reach out to people and talk about what, that last 5, 6 years has just, been like, and, like somebody like you that covers it and talks about it, on the regular, but also really enjoyed it.
Mhm.
So it's different to just talk about something like, okay, I had to watch it because, I make content and I had to watch it kind of thing. And it's
Yeah.
different talking to somebody that like genuinely enjoyed, doing it. And, I've got a couple other people I want to reach out to. I haven't yet because I've been busy scheduling interviews with other people that worked on the
Yeah.
show and stuff like that. So got some cool stuff with them. Some I've already talked to before, just following back up, but then others that are first time, trying to schedule. But there are other people like you that I think I want to reach out to and like similar chat, just reminisce,
Yeah.
about these shows because it's weird. It's been a few months since Chaos Theory ended, and for some reason, it feels like that's been longer than Camp Cretaceous. Like even though that was what November or whatever it was just like a few months ago.
Yeah.
But like that feels like it's a longer window of time than when Camp Cretaceous was on compared to now. It's like, oh, 6 months? No, 6 years. Um,
Yeah.
it's uh, I don't know. I don't know why time feels that way for me, but it's
It
just weird.
does. It is absolutely weird, and like I said, I just don't really understand how we got all that in that 6 years, and yeah, man, I think about, like, all the hard work that went into, like, talking about these episodes and, like, producing them. I started out doing, like, full, like, rewatches, and I'm like, "I can't keep up with that, that's gonna be a lot." So, like, I'm glad, like, you've, like, taken over, like, full-time duty of, like, covering this show in such a deep way, and that's appreciated. Because
Eh,
like, I love this show so much, and I love talking about it, the both of them. Um, but yeah, it's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of content, and it's like, it always expands expands your brain. You have to think about so much extra knowledge and information and timelines and characters and trajectories of all this other stuff. I'm so glad that it actually works very well, like within the series. That like you can really think of it like working hand in hand with the films so well, that there's like some things that probably like like we were talking about with the Scorpius and things like that that like kind of disconnected a little bit from the series, but the fact that it works so well like hand in hand with the franchise, like that makes it even all the more awesome. And I'm glad it exists. I'm so happy that it's here. I Yeah, I'm sad that it's done, man. That when that last season aired, I'm like, man, this stinks. I've really looked forward to watching, new seasons, and I was so happy to get that second series, and then when now it's all done, it's just like, man, we don't have anything like that to look forward to. So I hope there's more like this in the future, whether it's these characters or not. Maybe it's something completely new. I hope there's something like this to look forward to that gives us something to talk about, because it was great. It was a really great time for only 6 years. And while 6 years feels really long in one respect. It also is like short in others. It's just it's it's wild, man.
Hey, you got
Time is moving weirdly.
you got 9 seasons, and there was a couple year break in between those.
Yeah,
So, they pumped out 4 seasons of Chaos Theory in, what, a year or 2? Like, it was
yeah.
we got spoiled,
Uh
um,
huh.
with the show, like, that's for sure, that you get used to no, back in regular TV days, it was a season a year, and then
Hmm.
you would wait, and then the season would start up, and then with the streaming shows, you'd get one every 2, maybe 3 years, and then, you know, DreamWorks drops this on us, like, "Here you go, 5 seasons in 2 years." It's it's like, "Oh, geez." So, it was interesting, like, watch because you can't wait, but at the same time, it's like you said about rewatches and stuff, you almost can't do it because it came up so fast, and it's
Yeah.
one of the things I appreciated that, like, Kia did for me when Chaos Theory was announced, then we finally had a start date, and, I started doing this again after
Hmm.
taking a long break after Camp Cretaceous, and he's like, I'm gonna do a countdown, I'm gonna do a full rewatch," and he, like, planned it out on the calendar that the rewatch ended the day before Chaos Theory season 1 came out, and, I gotta give him credit. I gave him access to the social media accounts and stuff, and he was, like, live tweeting every day, every episode as he was
Amazing.
watching it, like, "More power to you, buddy."
Yeah.
And, I don't know if he lives in Iran, so
Hmm.
it's hasn't been easy for him lately,
Oh
but he
no.
does, when he gets a chance, he'll text me just to let me know that he's still doing okay and stuff, so,
Good. Good.
but I'll let him know, like, "Hey, you're gonna have new stuff from me to listen to when you finally get internet back." So, um,
Yeah, that'll be
and
awesome for him.
and actually, I don't he probably never said anything to you, but he found me from your Halloween live stream that I was on where I was dressed as Ben.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, this so
I the crazy thing is that that outfit that I wore on that stream it's been sitting in that same spot the entire time. Has not moved other than when I put it on from time to time, but it's literally sat on my light, like hanging on it. That I've got this green leotard here with a full bodysuit thing that was Mr. DNA. So that was one heck of a time, man. That was fun. I'm
it was
glad
a
I'm
good
glad he
costume,
found you
though.
from that because
Yeah.
that's awesome to have somebody like that to be able to, securely like run the show for you basically and just be a part of that and you have that that same enthusiasm and to be able to bounce that off of somebody is great. Like Tom, like I have Tom, loves it just as much and to be able to have him to relay a lot of this, these theories off of it's been great. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
always good to have somebody like that around.
Yeah, it is, and, alright, I've kept you over an hour, and it's late, and we've got stuff to do, so I could keep talking for a long time, but we both probably have work in the morning and kids to get ready and, other stuff, so, um, I can let you go, but I do wanna thank you so much for taking time to do this. It was, great because I don't think we've other than a random text here or there, we haven't chatted since we saw Rebirth, so, um,
Yeah,
you
true.
know, so that was an experience too, but that was I enjoyed
How
everything about that day more than watching the movie.
Yeah, that was an awesome experience, like, just being able to go and sit in that theater and, like, the just the I can't forget that, like, I think it was just before the Q&A portion, like, we ran my me and my son ran out to go to hit the bathroom real quick before the Q&A started, which was after the movie, and, like, we ran out there, he went to the bathroom, and he's like, "Can I run back?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he ran back, and as I'm, like, trying to catch up to him, I passed by Frank Marshall in the hallway. I'm like, my son just sprinted past Frank Marshall to go into this movie theater. I'm like, what is happening? It's wild. He
Yeah.
probably, like, bumped into him or, like, something probably happened in the hallway, I don't know, but, like, that was an awesome time to have, like, Gareth Edwards, like, wave at my son and say, "Hey, what's up?" or whatever, like, that was very cool, so awesome experience, absolutely, getting to hang out with you and so many other great fans. There was, like, literally so many people there. We were, like, corralling people that we didn't, like, know, which was awesome. There was just, like, random people, we're all getting in pictures together. It was awesome time. So we need more things like that, and I honestly wish there were things like that for Camp Cretaceous, like, I know there's been, like, some meetups and things for, Comic-Con, I guess, right? Or I don't know if it was New York maybe had one too, right? But, like, there's those little things. So I wish there was more like that where you could, like, go and celebrate something like this, but our time might be over. I don't know. It might
They
be in the
just
past.
they just need to, like, they don't have to do it every year. Just have a Jurassic convention and then dedicate
Mm,
a block of time to the animated shows, you know?
yeah,
I
dude.
mean, it's big enough. You've got enough movies. It's got a big enough following. I think they'd be able to do
Mhm.
it. It doesn't have to be like a week-long thing or whatever, just a day or 2, and I don't think it would be
Well,
a waste of money for Universal to do it, but
I don't think so either. I
I
mean, look, they've been setting up that Jurassic World Through the Eras thing at Universal Hollywood, which is, assumingly is for the Fan Fest thing, but they haven't really at this point haven't
but it's
given
just
given an inkling yet. But like,
well, it just randomly opened, like,
yeah,
the
I don't
other
even know if
day.
it's. I think it was just like one day. I don't even think it's been open since. I'm not sure, but like the fact that it was just like, oh yeah, it opened 39 minutes ago. What? That's the way Universal does things, unfortunately. So, like, if they were to do a Jurassic convention, it would be like, "Oh, yeah, that happened actually last weekend. You missed it." Be
Yeah.
like, "Are you serious?" I wish there was like a little, effort put into how the fan base is kind of like kept healthy and stuff, and they really don't like put that money into it. I guess is what it comes down to because like they could really put together like you said, just a short doesn't have to be anything crazy, just a little event with enough warning, that's the key factor. Like you have to tell people like well in advance that
Yeah,
there's gonna be something for people to come out to. We would all be there. And I think we'd
so
have a great time.
yeah, like, what was the thing they did a couple years ago with the guys from Outpost, the thing that they did in
Mhm.
Universal? Like, they dropped that last minute, like, "Hey, we're gonna
Yeah.
have this event, and you do everything,"
Yep.
and, like, no if you didn't have, like, a job where you can just, "Hey, I'm just taking off on Tuesday,"
Yeah.
like, whatever day it was, kinda thing. People didn't
Yeah.
have time to plan. Like, if somebody like
Mm-mm.
Tom wanted to go, he couldn't even go. Like, logistically,
No.
you couldn't make it
No
happen,
chance.
you know? It
That
was
was
a
a
cool I
bummer, yeah.
it was a cool idea, but, I mean, you gotta give people a chance to,
Yeah.
make plans and stuff like that, so I get what you're saying about
Yeah.
that.
Even like just a Saturday, Sunday event where, a lot of time is put into it, not just like 20-minute little windows of like a quick, interview on stage or something, but like actually have like, kind of like what Star Wars Celebration does, like just like, big, planned, hey, here's the celebration of the original series. Here's a celebration of the new one. Here's the animated series. Here's what's going on with video games and toys and like have all these kind of things come together so we can really celebrate everything. And then announce, "Hey, we're going to get series 3 from DreamWorks." It's going to happen.
And, like, Star Wars, they'll as soon as one celebration's wrapping up, like, "Oh, the next one
Yeah,
is," like, Star Wars
when it's going to
Celebration
happen.
2045 is gonna be on the moon, like, start booking your
Yeah.
hotel now. Like, people already
That's
know, you know?
that's the thing. Yeah, they
Yeah.
know as soon as what was it? Celebration was last year, I think, and it's going to be next year.
Yeah.
I think so. They literally announced it like it already, took place. The announcement took place and everybody knows when it's going to be. So just
When and
let people know
where.
ahead.
Uh,
We all know when like San Diego Comic-Con is going to be. It's like that certain, time period. It's always around there and it's like, come on, like let people know ahead of time so we can like all celebrate because we really want to. It's not fair. It's just not
yeah.
fair.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Universal listens to you, so
Oh
maybe
yeah,
maybe you
definitely.
can make it
Yeah,
happen.
for sure. They listen to me 100%. Yeah. They know.
Maybe we can
That's why
get
I keep
some
this phone around. Just in case this is my like red phone. It's direct
universal
line
phone. Yeah.
right to Universal. So when they call, I'm gonna pick it up because I'm right here all the time. So please call me.
Yeah. Yeah, they can have animatronic Brads walking around the convention center. It'd be
Yeah,
great.
yeah. And Scott definitely sounds like he named those after me, but I'm not too sure. He was very vague about it, but like also felt like it was real, and I'm not sure.
Uh, I still have to make my attempt at 3D printing a life-size one. I've
Oh
always
my, a
wanted to
life
do that.
size?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Which
I
one?
had
Hopefully not an X.
we'll start with the smaller one and then work our way up. So I had like, a couple of years ago, I had someone model one for
That's
me,
right.
and
I
I
do
like, I
remember
printed
that.
them, like, action figure size. I'm like, "I could just scale it up. Like, we could do this, add some electronics to it,"
Sell
you
it
know?
to Spirit Halloween. That would be absolutely like a, a hit, I think, around the spooky
Prob
holidays.
Probably not. If there's one thing people wanna forget, I'm pretty sure it's them. Um,
Ugh,
but I
yeah.
didn't have a problem with it. But,
The
yeah.
X's were like the ones that were like, ah, but the other ones I'm fine with, they were more believable.
Yeah. I mean, it's a franchise about bringing dinosaurs back from the dead, so, you know, everything is
Yeah.
on the table.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is like I feel like people have forgotten that you can suspend your disbelief there a little bit with this franchise, and not everything is like super serious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that bothered me about, like, the gripes people have with season 4 and 5. Like, it doesn't feel Jurassic, and it's too sci-fi. Like, what are you talking about? It's too sci-fi. It's a franchise based on impossible science. It's
Yeah, I those weren't my favorite seasons, but like I really got to revisit them because there was some really good stuff within there. Um, One thing I just want them to erase, and I was talking about it the other day again, was like the Barbasol can thing. Like I just want them to like forget about that. And I think it was maybe I was talking about the Jurassic Park survival or something like that. That like, what if that character that's in survival finds the canister, the Barbasol can, and like recovers it from where Nedry left it? Because that didn't really look anything like that scene in Camp Cretaceous, right? Like that area where they found the canister didn't really look like that. I feel like in the movie. Um, so I want her to like pick that up, but then like move it somewhere and like save the vials, but like ditch the can or something. I don't know. Like I just wanted to like to maybe explain how it got into the middle of a pathway down somewhere in Camp Cretaceous.
yeah. That was that was so disappointing. Like, I remember
Yeah.
all of our crazy theories when we saw that teaser of, like, who are these hands? Like, who do they belong to, and what is this? And I remember you're saying, like, "It's a flashback," and, all this crazy and I even, like, went through and I rewatched, because like, Wu is in Jurassic Park for, like, 2 minutes, and I, like, fast forward, I watched, and then he's wearing, that, clean suit or whatever, but then
Yeah.
he pulls his sleeve up, and he has a watch on. I paid attention, it's the same wrist that the hand was holding the can had a watch on. I'm like, "It's Wu, it's gotta be Wu," and he went and got it, and they're like, "Oh, no." It is just so disappointing what really happened, but
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I can cut them some slack because they got a lot of stuff very right. So that's
yeah.
one that's like that felt more of it's like more of a thing that like Colin was like, "Hey, we gotta connect some dots here. Can you just like throw it in the middle of a pathway or something?"
Well,
It's probably
yeah,
something, you know?
it's almost like, well, I decided to stick this in the movie, so he needs to find it. So,
Yeah.
kinda
Make it make
thing.
sense for me,
So,
please.
yeah.
How
So
much involvement do you think he had in that final series? Like, because he's always listed as a part of Chaos Theory, but like, I don't know, like, because it felt like there was a big split, with
yeah.
him and Universal and all that stuff. So I always wondered. I never wanted to ask directly because I felt like I wouldn't really get a direct answer, but I always wanted to know how much he was actually involved in you know anything with
Pro
Chaos Theory.
Probably early on, just based on when they started working on the show, but after that, yeah, probably not. I don't.
Maybe some of the Dominion stuff, maybe they just, like, asked the question or so. He's like, "You know what? Yeah,
Yeah,
but maybe not. I don't know. They could
yeah,
figure it out themselves. They don't really need the help. But,
yeah,
just list it as a name there. I'd be curious to know what they talked about, if anything.
yeah. Would be interested to know. And I feel Rebirth like completely disrespected everything he did over a decade. But yeah, that's a topic for
Yeah.
another time.
You know
But
what? Yeah, I've come around slightly. Like I said, I think the movie's a really fun time. I have a great time with it, and I've come to really like the characters and some of the comedic bits of that movie. I still really don't like the mince thing. That's kind of I don't really need that at all. But I love the score. I just did a whole series on the score, and like I really really love that music, and I think that's really helped me like come around on it and kind of have like a much more find much more enjoyment from it. But yeah, it's just those little canon things that like are really bugging me that will never go away unless Scott and the team come and fix them for me. But like they could do it, and then I'd really really love Rebirth. But like I just need them. I just need their help. So please, if you're listening, just help me out, help a guy out here, okay? Whatever you got to do, just connect some dots and make some things work. Tell me why is why is the Mosasaurus over there? Is it the same one? Really answer that question for me. Why does it look different? Just give me one line about like, oh, it changed. It just looks different. It's like a Pokemon. It evolved, like tell me something that makes it so I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I get it. I believe it." I just need something to believe, that's really all I need is something to believe in, I think.
there we go. Maybe he could just tell you what his plan is, even if they
Yeah,
never
if
have
it
it.
doesn't happen, please, yes,
Yeah.
hit me up, Scott. My phone's right here. You know where I'm at. We're friends on Instagram or whatever, so
All right, we're gonna go for real this time, so I don't get sidetracked and derailed again.
yep, that's all I do.
It's okay. I appreciate it. It's like the first adult conversation I've had in a long time. So, well, thank you again for taking time out. I really appreciate it. And, um, everybody knows the Jurassic Park podcast, but are you still involved with other ones? Where else can
Yeah,
people find
so
you?
much. So much, dude. Thank you for having me. Thanks for talking for a little bit, and yeah, I haven't talked about these shows since the season wrapped up, so it's nice to kinda actually, I've done a little bit on the live streams and things, but, like, it's nice to actually have a conversation because 'cause I'm just talking to myself on these live streams. So, it's kinda I mean, sometimes I just kinda forget that I'm like, "Oh, I gotta talk to a actual person this time," so it's nice. But yeah, I've got a lot going on. The Jurassic Park podcast still doing episodes all the time. We just looked at the score with a three-part series with Caleb Burnett, who's also part of Outpost. And me and Tom are also looking at the Monarch Legacy of Monsters TV show, which is part of the whole MonsterVerse, Godzilla, Kong universe. So we got, you know, this is the second series that we've gotten early access to. So we started with Camp Cretaceous. Well, I guess it's the third series technically. Started with Camp Cretaceous, got Chaos Theory early access, and now we're on Monarch. So we got Apple TV to give us early access somehow
Nice.
to a Godzilla TV show. So that was pretty cool. So we've been covering that, and we got all those episodes early. So we've been recording stuff behind the scenes and getting everything ready. So go check out those when they come out. And the Forcecast talking about Star Wars. We got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie this year. We've got Maul Shadow Lord and so much other stuff to talk about there. And then, of course, Grim Grinning hosts with my other theme park and pop culture podcast. We've got a lot going on over there. So go check out those episodes. But also follow me over on Letterboxd where I write dumb movie reviews from time to time and catalog everything over there. So too much stuff to talk about, but thank you for giving me the space to do so.
Yeah, you're a busy, busy man. So that's
Yeah,
why I
tired.
appreciate you taking this hour and a half out. So I know you got a lot going on.
No, man, it's all good. I'm always happy to talk. Let's do it again for sure.
Yeah, yeah. In 6 more years.
Hopefully
Yeah,
sooner than that. But
yeah. We'll figure something out, and maybe we can get some kind of bigger group together. I've always wanted to have some kind of like roundtable talk about these shows, just like see what kind of nonsense we can just bounce off each other. So
oh yeah,
it's just takes a lot of coordinating because you got to coordinate schedules with a lot of
it
people.
does.
So like
It does.
sometimes listening to in general, I'm like, how does that post get 4, 5, 6 people to sit down together? And like
Yeah,
somebody like Jaden
from
is in Australia. Like,
I know. I just did a conversation with Connor, who's now in Australia, who does our Dino DNA episodes, and that was like, trying to figure that out was like chaos too. So yeah, with them UK and Australia and US, and yeah, it's got to be a lot. So
yeah.
that's why I'm just like, for the most part, I'm just gonna do the talking, and I don't have to coordinate too much with myself.
But you do, because you have so much other stuff going on. You
Yeah,
still
that's
have to
true.
find
Yeah.
time to coordinate with yourself. No.
Yeah, it's yeah. Somehow I just mosey on down here. I feel like a zombie, but hey, we get it done.
Yeah, and then people can find you tomorrow night.
Live streaming, I'll be there. I don't know what I'm talking about, and I won't know until I hit record or hit go live.
Although this will probably be out after your live stream, because I definitely
Yeah.
do not have time to
Well, the next
edit or
one,
do
I'll be there the next
anything.
week, next Wednesday, any Wednesday, I'll be there.
Uh, all right. Thank you very much once
Yeah,
again.
man. Thank you.
All right. Thank you once again to Brad for joining me and talking all about Camp Cretaceous and chaos theory. And of course, we got sidetracked and went on tangents, and I wouldn't expect anything else. So, once again, thank you very much to Brad for taking time out of his busy schedule to chat with me. It was great. Would love to do it again sometime. And like I said, I'm looking to do more of these. If you want to talk about 6 years of the Nublar Six and, wouldn't mind being on an episode of the podcast, please reach out to me. You can always find me at Cretaceous_Dave on most social media, or the Campcast social media is at JP_Campcast on Twitter and at Cretaceous Campcast on other social media like Instagram. Not on a lot of other social media platforms. I'm just kind of old and stuck in my ways, so it is what it is at this point. Not on TikTok or anything like that. I tried it last year or the year before, and I just can't do it. Can't keep up with it. Sorry. Too old, I guess. But that about wrap things up. Once again, thank you so much to Brad. It was awesome chatting with you. And yeah, that's look for some more stuff coming up soon in the future. Working on booking a couple of interviews, and let's see, maybe some other surprises coming real soon. We'll see. We'll see. But thank you everyone for watching and or listening, and I want everyone to stay safe, stay Jurassic, and have yourselves a good one. So long.